Hey everyone, how you doing? Just in that precise second there, my camera fell forward. Oh, that's all good. Gonna be a good evening. Okay, so welcome to another episode of McCall Media TV Live, whereby in this evening's episode, I'm going to be talking to you all about how you add, or shall we say, pimp up your Zoom meetings. Now, obviously, with the whole pandemic that's been going on in the world, everybody's obviously had to jump online and become experts at using Zoom, which means everybody, all your competitors, all the other businesses, absolutely everybody under the sun, all now use Zoom, and you're all these tiny little thumbnails and you're talking to people and all that jazz. So what can you do in that environment to make yourself that little bit more interesting, a little bit more sort of memorable and those kind of things? And that's what I'm going to show you, basically the benefit of what today's entire video is about. Now, that's me coming from a business to business marketing kind of perspective, but you might have your own reasons for wanting to do something like this as well. Maybe you're running a church group, or maybe you are running a social group or something like that outside of the work environment, and you're wanting to do something a little bit more to pizzazz up your Zoom and your live feed. So if that is the case, this is the video for you. It is a little bit technical, but I'm going to go slowly. I'm going to sort of lead you through every single step. There is nothing to pay for. You don't need any money involved, but you do need to have a little bit of patience, and I am working on a PC environment. So with that said, before we dive into today's content, please remember to support my business. If you're watching on YouTube, then please, it's that side, isn't it? Please subscribe, stay tuned, stay notified, help me out. I do all of these videos out of passion and love, and as a small YouTuber, I need all the support I can get. So let's watch my socials and we'll get right on in it. Excellent. Okay, so the very first thing that we're going to need to understand is you're going to need to load in Zoom. So I'm going to presume that you guys are already set up with a Zoom configuration on your computers. If not, you can basically navigate to it by visiting zoom.us and then download and install. But I'm not going to be covering that in this meeting, because by now I should imagine you guys, if you're looking at this video, are already experts on how to use Zoom. So we are going to look at point number 2, which is obviously OBS. Now, if you've not used OBS before, this is the software that I am using right now to stream this broadcast. So it's the same kit basically, and it's an open source software. So basically that means that there is communities all around the globe that all add their little bit of technical expertise to the community of OBS in order to build this tool, and they get like sponsorships and endorsements and all those kind of things to help fund the project. So you can go onto the internet and you can download OBS Studio. The website is obsproject.com. Obviously you need to download it for your environment and follow the normal install instructions. I'm not going to cover that in this video because it's pretty much like installing any other software, and if you're a general business user these days, you probably know how to do that. So that's those two there covered. But this is when things get a little bit more funky, because in order to implement this particular strategy today that I'm going to give you, you have to add in another tool to OBS. Now that's called virtual cam. So let me just flick that back up on screen one more time. So virtual cam is basically a way of fooling the software that there is a camera existing when it doesn't. Okay, in that kind of sort of very basic layman's terms. And the reason that you need to use this, and you're going to need to install it, and I'm going to just talk to you about this in just a moment, is because OBS needs to use a webcam. Zoom needs to use a webcam, but a webcam can only operate in one piece of tool or kit at the same time. But yet we're going to be working in an environment where technically 2 bits of kit are going to need, or 2 bits of software are going to need to access your camera, and therefore we have to fool one of them to thinking there's a camera existing when it doesn't, and the other one can actually use it. So this is why you have to download virtual cam. Now again, this is totally free. This is the page that you need to go to. If you was to search on the internet for OBS virtual cam 2.0.4, you'll get to this page here. They have said that there was a bit of a problem with this one. Download the blue link here. I can assure you, at the time of making this video, I did this actual process in the last 6 days, and I've had absolutely no problems. Obviously you've got to do your own homework and trust for your own peace of mind, but from my perspective and my business in a PC Windows 10 environment, everything has gone fine. I've never actually had a problem with OBS in the past. I've always used this tool actually to record my screen footage when I'm teaching tutorials. So anyway, I just thought I'd add that in there. So once you have Virtual Cam installed, now the only other thing that you might need to do is if you've installed or run the Virtual Cam executable file, whilst you had OBS open, you might actually have to close it and then reopen it in order to see it. So I'm going to just now dive onto my OBS screen. So obviously I'm live, so you're going to see lots of mirrored copies of the same screen echoing back here. So you have to just ignore a little bit of what's going on up here, because this is the live program feed information to me. So at the moment, I'm in OBS, and up here under Tools, you should see the word Virtual Cam. Okay, if you are to click on that, it basically, I would suggest you click on Auto Start. That means that every time you open OBS, it will naturally create a virtual camera for any of your other software applications to use, and you don't have to actually remember to do this as a specific task. It's just a housekeeping thing to keep it out of your head. And then once you've done that, now obviously I can't do this right now because I'm live and I'm using my virtual cam. So that's why my button for start is greyed out, and it's asking me if I want to stop mine. Your screen obviously will have the other two switched around, so you will be able to click on the start button, which will essentially set your virtual cam into being in existence, and for other software applications to then be able to use it. You won't see anything on screen, you won't even know it's happening. It just becomes a piece of tool, shall we say, that your computer is aware of. So it's like having two cameras in the computer's mind. Okay, that's how it's going to understand it being in existence. So I'm just going to shut that window. So like I said, if for any reason you don't see the virtual cam showing under the tools link, shut everything down, give it a moment, load it all back up, and the housekeeping aspects of OBS will have done its thing, and you should then see it listed in the menu to get your virtual cam set up. So that is the next step kind of done and dusted. So number 4, let me go back onto my own screen so that it's a little bit easier for you guys to see what's going on. Bear with me 1 second. Okay, so point number 4 is auto configuration. So now in OBS, if you've never used it before, then you're going to need to do this step. If you have already got OBS installed and you've been using it or twinking, you know, testing and playing with stuff and doing things, you don't need to do this. But essentially up here in the tools menu, you will see this auto configuration wizard if this is the first time you've loaded OBS. Obviously I'm currently using it, and therefore I've gone and done this step yonks ago, whenever it was I installed OBS on my computer, so I can't actually talk you through it. But essentially it's going to ask you things like do you want to sort of record or stream. Just literally, it's basically going to test your computer environment, work out what your settings are and how your computer works, so that it can best program OBS for you. So just go with the basic defaults and you'll be absolutely fine. So in this case you might want to choose the streaming option over the recording option, but like I said, I've been using this tool in the past for recording screen tutorials and demos for like when I build WordPress websites and that kind of thing. So I've done the recording option in the past, but you can tweak this once you've set it up, but it just helps you do your housekeeping within the OBS environment to get it up and ready for you. So once you have done that, we are going to go to, that was OBS scenes. Okay, so we're on to point number 5 now. So once again, let me just tidy up this other screen because we might need to use it in just a moment, and I'm going to just minimize that. Right, so once again, I'm going to just bring up my OBS screen so that you guys can see it, and it's going to have that whole mirrored effect thing going on, so it should come up now. Right, so please bear in mind, ignore this screen for the moment. This is because this is my live feed. This is exactly what I'm seeing right now in front of my camera. Over on the left hand side, you're going to have completely empty and black boxes everywhere because you wouldn't have used this tool yet. So what you're going to do under this box where it says scene, down in the bottom left hand corner, you're going to click on the plus button, and I'm going to call this as a test OBS plus Zoom, so I know which what it is so that I can delete it in the future. Okay, once you've done that, click on OK, but you call it whatever you want. For example, this one here right now is my main broadcast that you are experiencing, but you don't need to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to click on OK, and so now I've just cut my feed off, haven't I? Okay, so I've just realised she says that I think I'm actually going to cut my feed off when I go through this. So you just have to bear in mind that you're going to have needed to have selected this option. Okay, once that's open, you then need to give it a source. Now, if I show you some that I've created earlier, as it were, I can't click on it directly because it will stop this live feed. I should have thought about this a little bit better, but that's the beauty of doing live streaming, because you kind of sort of live life by the seat of your pants. But essentially, if you look down here, I can't click on it, but this is my main feed at the moment. So you're going to have this scene. Now you need to give it tools. Okay, so if you was to look over here, I've got lots of different sources. So I've got cameras, I've got graphics, which are my overlays, I've got sound effects, I've got background music going, I've got all sorts. You're not going to need anything like that amount of many things, okay? But what I will do is I'm just going to show you two really simple ones. First of all, this one up here, which is my overlay. Okay, that is literally this graphic here. So you could do something very similar to this using Photoshop or Photopia or even Canva, whereby you create a 1080, or was it 9? Oh, I've lost this, my settings have all gone, but you basically get your 20 by 1080p. Sorry, my head's just gone crazy at this time of night. But you essentially can build yourself a transparent PNG file that you can create, and all you would do down here is click on plus, add in an image, look for it on your computer, and away you go, and then it will be a source. And then you can do two things when it's listed here. You can lock it so that you can't accidentally delete it or do anything with it you shouldn't be doing, and you can physically hide it. Now if you look up here on my screen, if I actually show you while I'm on a live feed, I hide and I show. Okay, so that's basically what that graphic is there. All right, you can do things like basically add in text, which is the text that's going on down here, and this is why you might want to do it. So for example, tomorrow I run on a Thursday lunchtime a business to business virtual networking group in the UK. It's for 90 minutes, and I wanted to basically, because I obviously want to be known as a YouTuber, a live streamer, a videographer, and all those kind of things, I wanted to pimp up my live feed into this networking event so that people get that ooh wow factor, and I become remembered, and obviously elevate my profile above the other businesses in the networking group. So that's where this whole sort of driving factor of this video came from. So I've got things like join next week's meeting as text on the screen here, and it's really easy to do. You can just click on the plus button again, and as you can see, you've got lots of different things that you can add into this scene. So one of the things that you're going to need to add is obviously the video camera itself. So you'll need to actually add your particular webcam, which for me at the moment, if you look carefully, is we are on my center monitor is my feed at the moment. But when I go back to me, so okay, you will see that now the little eye is showing against my DSLR camera, which is what I'm using as my webcam, and actually my center monitor has turned off. So obviously I've got lots of different sources. You're going to have just one, so don't panic, but essentially you are going to need to go in and add your webcam. So that's add in video capture device, and then you're going to add new up here, call it what you want. There's my Logitech one as well, and away you go, and then you'll be able to use it in the future. Okay, so you've got your text, you've got your overlays. Text could be anything like join us next meeting, don't forget to sign up, register. It could be any kind of call to action. It could be your website address. It's any kind of information you kind of want to have that wow factor that you want to give to your audience. And that's basically, you can make as many of these as you want. So for example, here we go. Now you can see how many. Now that's not all of the options today. We've got 9 points in today, so I've got a lot more, sort of, because I don't want to have to keep setting up and formatting all the text styles, but I've got a whole bunch there, and as you can see, they're all turned off. But when I hit, I think we're on point number 7 right now, it will flash up on screen. There you go, point number 7, and you can see momentarily there number 7 came to life. Now I'm going to talk to you about how I did that in just a moment, but essentially you can add in text. All I'm trying to say here is you're going to need to add in your camera, add in images, add in your text, and you know, you kind of got all the information that you want running. So let me just check number 6 so that we haven't, yeah, that's the sources. We've done that, that's fine. So number 7, we are now going to need to add this to a Zoom feed so that you know what is going on. So point number 7, we now need to join a Zoom meeting. So down here on my computer, I've got a Zoom. So let's just change the screen so you can see what I'm seeing. Okay, so here's my Zoom meeting. I'm just going to create a real basic meeting. Now, the moment I start doing this, it might actually pick up, because I'm using 2 cameras, you guys won't have that, but it might actually pick up my webcam. So I'm going to start with no video for the moment. If you are asked to add a video, let me actually just show you what, there we go, yes. So that's this feed, that's fine. If you are asked to add a video, as you can see here now, let me see if I can just show you this one. It's turned off. Is it going to work? No. 2 seconds. Come on, click. Cannot start the video because it's failed. Yeah, because I've got it used in OBS. Okay, so the reason that you wanted to create then your virtual cam is because now you need to tell Zoom about which camera to use, and essentially it's like the OBS virtual camera. So I'm going to click on that, which basically will give a screen image when I turn on the camera now of my actual screen itself, which is what I want. But I'm just going to large that up, and because it's inside itself, it's probably going to go a wee bit funny. But essentially, let me just turn this back on because I want me to show. There we go. It will catch up in just a second. There we go. Right. So this is, because that's me showing you the left screen. That's why it came up. So basically you've got your webcam. Now this is a feed that's actually coming from OBS and not your webcam. So your webcam is feeding into OBS. OBS is now feeding into Zoom. And so as you can see on the screen here, and it's all going to be delayed because obviously everything's live at the moment and it's draining a lot of sort of internet resources, so that's why there's a little bit of lagging as to what you're seeing. But essentially you will see my left hand screen, and now I can't really, let me just see if I can get my, just thinking how I can show you a little bit more. Essentially you will get this screen as you see right now feeding into Zoom. Okay, so there's that bit done. Now, as you can see, when I was on my center monitor, let's go back here and quickly flash up the next point that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about OBS hotkeys, because as you can see, all of this little text and clicking on and clicking off and hiding and showing can get really distracting. And whilst you're trying to talk to people, you don't want to be kind of like sort of ducking and diving really low, trying to sort of see what is it, and you know, where's the glasses, which one's live, which one's not. It gets all a bit messy. So what you might want to do is program some hotkeys, as it were, to basically, so you could push like number 1 on your keyboard and tomorrow's meeting or next week's meeting date pops up, and you could hit number 2 on your keyboard and it might show your website URL or something like that. Okay, so what you can do now is you can program something called your hotkeys. Now, to find your hotkeys in OBS, you need to go to File and you need to go down to Settings. Oh, let me just, sorry, I've just realised I'm not on that screen for you. Give me 1 second. Let me just show you again. So you need to go to File, up in the corner. You need to go down to Settings. That will bring up this screen that you can see in front of us. And over on the left hand side, you can see hotkeys. Now, if you remember in my scenes over here, I've got loads of scenes. You're only going to see one section because you'd have only just created one. But all of these scenes are listed, and these are all the different things that you can do. So inside my scene, I'll have different sources, and it's basically saying to me, find the item that you want to flash up. So let's say, for example, in tomorrow's meeting, I was programming that for my networking event. I'm just going to slide down if I can find it. There we go. Or let's go with the YouTube little cha-ching that I pop up on screen. So I would say, right, I want to show that. Let's play it, and I'm going to hit number 3. And I basically follow the instructions, and I tune in a key on my keyboard that every time I push it, that little command is going to happen. That's one way. The other way, let's have a look. That was the hotkeys. Right, so the other way is point number 9. Let me just wait for that to disappear and I will show you. Which one have I got next? is on StreamDeck. Now, if you watched my broadcast yesterday, that's what I'm clicking on at the moment down here on the on my screen. I'm just going to lift it up and show you. So this is my StreamDeck. This is my latest purchase and gadget, whereby you can actually just program these buttons instead. I'm not going to go into that right now as a tutorial, but essentially if you have that, you could use that instead of doing the hotkeys. Or you've got option number 10, I think it is. Oh no, I think that's probably where we're up to. Hang on, number 9. StreamDeck, yeah, that's fine. So wait for those just to finish. So all of these little things are the commands that you can be basically putting live into your Zoom meeting. And so there, what we're going to do is, I was going to run an example, but I've just realized I can't do that because of the fact that I'm live in this feed and it didn't like it. But essentially that is it. That's basically what it is. So if we quickly recap, because I know there was quite a lot of information in this today, and you might want to pause and kind of digest the section and then come back to it. But essentially, first of all, you're going to need to make sure you've got Zoom installed on your computer. Once you've got Zoom installed, you need to go and basically also then install OBS itself. Okay, remember OBS is free, it's open source. And so once you've done that, you then need to add in like the plugin, as it were, so that we can fool Zoom into thinking there is a virtual camera called the OBS camera, as it were. Once you've got that installed, the next idea was then to basically run the auto configuration. If you as a user have never used OBS before and you've had to go through this process, then you'll need to do that. Otherwise you can skip it. And then after that, you need to create your scene. That's when I had the trouble, because obviously I was then sort of navigating away from this current live scene. But you go down to scenes, click on the plus, give it a name. So call it networking meeting or church meeting, or I don't know, roller skating meeting, whatever it is that your Zoom conversation is all about. You can then name it, and then you need to give it tools and sources, okay, which was there we go, point number 6. So that's when you add in your camera, which will be your webcam. Then you'll need to add in any overlay graphics, PNG transparent files, and then you can add in any text that you want to pop up, and you can create multiples of these, so you can have different images at the touch of different buttons. Once you've done that, you then need to join a Zoom meeting in the same way you would always have joined a Zoom meeting. That adding yourself to a Zoom meeting is no different to any other task, except if it's easier for you, join that meeting with no camera, and then when you go to select your camera, do not select your webcam, select the OBS camera, and then your feed right now will be showing on that meeting instead of your webcam feed. So that's that. And then obviously to create your hotkeys, to add the commands for these little bits of text and things that jazz up on screen. And if you have access to something like a StreamDeck, you can do that and use that instead. However, I'm also going to say, if you haven't got StreamDeck, I think StreamDeck itself has an app, and I think it's like £2 or something a month. You might just want to pay for that if that's easier for you, and you can put it on your phone, and you can hit like button number 1 on your phone, as it were, and then away you go, and you haven't got to touch your keyboard because all your config is set up nicely. And that is it for me today. I know that's gone quite fast. There was a lot to get in there, but I hope you enjoyed it. Okay, I've been really playing in the last few days, and I've been totally having lots of fun, and I will tell you how I get on tomorrow in another video, because tomorrow I'm going to give the wow factor to my networking group who have no idea what is going to be coming their way. So I've got little jingles and all sorts of little things set up to give them some demos. So just as another little example of something you can do, you could do, oh, there you go. Please subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this video, and you can do little things like that as well. So thank you very much for watching. As always, your support is great. Any comments, if you've got any questions, or you need some advice, or want some answers, or have a question about anything I've covered, please add it in the comments. I will keep one eye on this over the next maybe couple of weeks and dive in and out whenever I see a comment and I get flagged by YouTube, and I will go and answer your question to the best of my ability. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you on another video real soon. This was McCall Media TV. I'm Angela McCall. Thank you very much.